Well, I may have not seen the season premiere, but thanks to watching that video by Andre Meadows, Black Nerd Comedy, I was able to get an idea of what we're in store for. Now, a lot of theories have been going around as to who this hooded individual could be. The one that shot Archie's dad. The one that supposedly, a bit of spoilers here, might have killed Miss Grundy at the end of episode 1. Chapter 14. I think it's chapter 13 or 14. No, it's chapter 13. So we don't know exactly who it is or who might be under the hood. However, some theories have been abound. Some theories have said that the individual under the hood is a former cop. The former cop who's going under the vigilante name of the Black Mask, or something like that. And what he does is basically bring justice to those that have done wrong, in his own way, from what I understand. I'd have to do a little bit more research, but yeah, that's basically who some people are theorizing this could be. On the other hand, a lot of people feel that it could be anybody. Some people are saying it could be Cheryl's dad. But how could that be? We saw Cheryl's dad hang himself at the end of season 1. We saw that. We saw that. So who else could it be? A lot of people are suspecting it could be a Southside Serpent. But who could that be? Synopsis for the next episode is Kevin is playing a dangerous game. Could this individual under the mask, could it be Joaquin? Could it be Joaquin? Could this individual be Joaquin? Maybe not. He's too big, too highly built to be him. Could it be Kevin's dad? Who knows? Could it be the guy that Grundy Jennifer, that her real name is in the series, warned Archie about? And maybe she got taken out, and maybe he finally was able to take her out at the end of last week's episode. I mean, he said basically to her he's back, and probably essentially either hospitalized her or killed her. So maybe it's him. Maybe it's Grundy's ex that's so obsessed with her that maybe he'd rather have her hospitalized or dead instead of somebody else being with her, and now he's taking out everybody that's been associated with her. I'm just saying. Or could it be Betty's long-lost brother? See, we don't know much about him yet. We know that casting apparently has happened. Casting has occurred to bring him into the series, possibly this season. But that's all we know. That's all we really know. We know he's going to be involved somehow. But is he the one behind the mask? There's a lot of questions about who this individual could be that are left unanswered. Like I said, they're all left unanswered. But that's not the only thing. See, Cheryl apparently now has control over her mom. Apparently something happened at the end of season 1, apparently on screen or off screen, that caused Cheryl's mom to be put into the hospital as well. But what was it? Did she run into the house while it was on fire? But we saw the house burn down. Or did we? So how could that be? Could it be... Could it be that Cheryl may have caused something to happen to her mom? She basically said that things were going to change. That burning down the house was the beginning of something new. But what could it be? What is this new beginning about? And if that's not all, what are her motives? What are Cheryl's motives? We don't know yet. But if she is at a point where this new beginning consists of her basically threatening to pull the oxygen from her mom's hospitalized state, if not literally kill her, then what is her motives? Then you got Betty. Betty right now is kind of like in a situation where the person she's in love with, she's dating, is essentially the leader of the Southside Serpents. Not officially, but he's there. But he's kind of in that, well, it's not there, but he's kind of in that position where he's sort of the de facto leader while his dad's in jail. But he's not the kind of Southside leader that wants his fellow Southside members to do anything beyond what he asked them to do. And now, after this episode, he kind of sees exactly what he could be in store for. But this is where Betty comes into play. You see, Betty, we saw last season, has this almost split personality to her. It's like she has two people living inside of her. She has this side of her that you see all the time, the sweet, innocent, determined side that's willing to help anybody that needs to be helped. But then, on the flip side, you have this other personality that comes out that's more darker, more, how do I put this? She's more darker, more sensual, more exotic kind of character that is willing to do whatever it takes to get what she wants. Now the tag for this season is something wicked this way comes. Betty, I think, even said that at the end of season 1. So what if this wicked, or at least part of it that's coming, is that darker side of Betty that's about to come out? I'm just saying. Is there this darker side of her that's about to finally burst out and take full control? We don't know yet. We don't know, but when a lot of the premise for this season focuses on Betty and it says something wicked comes this way, one has to wonder. One has to wonder if maybe Betty is going to be the one that everybody has to deal with. You know, is she going to be the one that literally everyone has to keep an eye out for? Makes you curious, right? Curious. But that's another thing you have to wonder about. What is her role going to be? And then what about Veronica? Believe it or not, Veronica might seem like the more reasonable of the entire group. Like she might be the kind that's the more sensible. Yeah, she's a lodge, and she has to be constantly reminded of that. But it sounds like the way she's going to be portrayed this season is she's the more sensible of the group, but being a lodge still, she will still kind of take advantage of a situation. She will. She will kind of take advantage of a situation. Still being a lodge, she will take advantage of a situation if she sees it. Even if it's a innocent, if not opportunistic, small advantage. AKA the little shower love sex that she had with Archie. But the way it's being portrayed right now, she might be the more sensible of the group, the more reasonable. Not saying that's going to carry on for the rest of the season, but one has to wonder. One has to wonder. And when one thinks about it, her and Archie are the only ones so far that have been kind of getting it on lately. So, what if there's a twist? What if the twist at the end of this season is she ends up almost in a similar predicament, if not the same predicament, as Polly Cooper did? That predicament being, what if the first half of this season, if not the end of the season entirely, ends with the revelation that Veronica is pregnant? Think about that. As many times as she and Archie have been kind of getting it on so far as we've seen, what if there's that twist at the end of the first half of the season, if not the end of the season entirely, that it's revealed she's pregnant now because of that? That could really gain a lot of people's interest, because think about it. Being longtime Archie fans, and no one would see that coming. No one would ever expect that to happen. Longtime Archie fans, as far as I know, have never seen one of the main cast end up in that kind of predicament. The only time they probably have seen it is in dream sequences in the comics. But they've never seen it outside of that. They've never seen it outside of that. And if not more, in a legitimate situation, in a legitimate adaptation and take on the characters like this. But knowing how the people behind this series are, I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the first half of the season, if not by the end of season 2, that revelation is made that she's pregnant. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised because of the fact that despite the fact that Betty and Jughead probably have got it on before as well, almost, or have come close to getting it on, it hasn't been at the level of Betty and Veronica and Archie. It hasn't been. It hasn't been at that level. Because the last time it looked, because when you think about it, you go back to the end of season 1, and just when it looked like they were going to get it on, they got interrupted by the Southside Serpents. And the only ones we have seen so far where the indication that this has occurred, has been Archie and Veronica. So I think honestly that's going to be the role. So honestly, when I look at Veronica, I look at her playing that role of she'll be more reasonable, more sensible, but being a lodge, she'll still take advantage of a situation, especially when it comes to Archie and getting together with him, if you know what I mean. But the way it looks like they're playing Veronica a little bit in this series, and if not in this season, I wouldn't put it past the producers or the executives or the executive producers, directors, and writers to add that twist at the end of the first half of the season, if not at the end of the entire season itself, that she ends up pregnant. I would not put it past them. Just the way this show is written, to keep your intrigue, to keep you guessing from episode to episode, from season to season, I wouldn't put it past the writers to do that. I wouldn't. And I don't think anybody here should put it past the writers to do that either. So yeah, I look at Veronica and I say she's probably going to be portrayed as the more sensible, reasonable one for a while. But being a lodge, she'll still take advantage of certain situations. But again, like I said, I believe the twist at the end, the revelation that could occur at the end of the first half of season 2, if not at the complete end of season 2, is she ends up pregnant. I wouldn't put it past it. I really would not put it past the writers to go in that direction. Because I truly believe that's what's going to happen. I really do. But then you have other things that occurred in this episode. When Archie's dad, Fred, was kind of laying in the coma, he was having these dream sequences of what could happen, what could be. Basically, in a way, kind of getting these premonitions, these visions of things that just may or may not add up. One of the last things he saw, from what I understand, from what Andre Meadows put out, was the last dream sequence or vision or premonition he saw was something like a wedding. A wedding, I think, between Archie and Veronica, I think. And that out of all the people that was there, he saw in that vision, the things that shocked him the most was he saw that Jason was alive. He saw that Jason is Cheryl's dad, who basically committed suicide and hung himself, was alive. Apparently committed suicide and hung himself. He saw that their dad was alive. And then he saw this whole row of the Blossoms, all these redheads, right next to them. And at the very end is his wife, and she's winking at him. So what does that tell you? What is that about? It makes you wonder, it makes you guess as to what her connection could be. And this season's probably going to answer that question. We're going to probably find out that she's indeed a Blossom, but she's the kind that's sort of in the similar vein as the Coopers were. Something happened to where she disowned herself from the Blossoms and wanted nothing to do with them. I wouldn't be surprised. But again, that's just a guess. I'm just guessing and theorizing. Why would Fred Andrews see her at the very end along with the rest of the Blossoms? It didn't, it doesn't add up unless she's connected to them, if not related to them. And one has to wonder, where's Fred getting these visions? How is he getting these dreams? Something tells me someone has provided them with him. A lot of people have said that, they reference and even show Greendale, which is where Sabrina's at. And there was word going around and news going around that Sabrina is going to be adapted into a CW horror series, or at least horror thriller series. Basically like Riverdale, but more horror themed, if you will. Could there be the fact that we might get a crossover with the actress that might become Sabrina for that series, and thus the crossover leads into the introduction to the Sabrina series? Who knows? Could Sabrina and her family be the ones that provided these dreams through magic or some kind of incantation to Archie's dad, and made him realize, look, these visions you're getting, this is reality in a sense. This is kind of hinting at you of what really is going on. So one has to wonder. And then you got Veronica's mom, Hermione, and you got Hiram, Veronica's dad, involved in this, right? What connection? Why is Hermione? This is kind of weird. It's like Hermione, I think, what did she do? Slap Veronica, right? So she basically tells us she's not a violent person. So one has to wonder, does Hermione have a connection to the killer? Or to the attempted killer? To the masked guy? Is there some connection she has with him? Did she hire him to take out Archie? Did she hire him to take out Fred? Who knows? And then what about Hiram? He's back. What role is he going to play? What connections will he have? Will he be the big baddie, or will he have a season where he's going to get redeemed? Or he's going to try to make up for what he has done? We don't know what role he's going to have. All we know is he's had connections, he's had a past, and essentially he has more control and power than Hermione did. Or does. Or does he? One has to wonder. What connections will he have? What role will he play in this season? And what would their reactions be if what I mentioned earlier becomes the twist at the end of the first half of the season, if not the end of the season entirely, and it's revealed that Veronica's pregnant? I'm just saying, what would their reactions be? You see, this season is going to make you ask a lot more questions than ever before. This season overall is going to make you ask more questions. It's going to make you theorize even more. It's going to keep you wondering who can really be trusted and what the motivations are, what direction certain characters are going to go in and be taken in. And I thank Andre Meadows, Black Nerd Comedy, for providing me, along with the rest of us, his review, his take on Riverdale Episode 1 for Season 2. All I could say is, if I can keep up with the series somehow, some way, I will still give my insider look. I'll still give not my insider, but I'll still give my outlook on it. I will still give my theories on it. And who knows what they got in store, but all I could say is, look out, world. It's going to be fun.